pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
None.
Okay, register considerations of the minutes.
They should be included in your packet, barring any errors or omission. I would recommend approval as written.
Second. All those in favor? All right, any public comment? All right, so it looks like a presentation tonight.
We do. We have, usually every year I ask Mr. Maxwell to come and just kind of give us an update on things, new changes to outdoor ed. This is our third year outdoor ed, fourth year for outdoor ed, and wow.
Right.
Yeah. And so many things go on with it. He's so connected with studies as well, grant writing, lots of things. And so he's brought 3 individuals to talk about outdoor ed. Take it away.
All right, so let's go over again over here. You need a microphone.
You all?
No, we don't need. Yes, you can over here. You see some of the pictures that we have on the slideshow over the years. So I have Michael, John, and Eric. So I'm going to talk to you guys just for a minute about the different new things that we're doing outdoor ed. Then I'll let them share some of their experiences. If you want to share an experience they've had with outdoor ed and also mini studies. So to start with, this past fall, earlier this fall, I got an email from friends of Acadia who gave us a grant for about 11 or 12,000, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, a couple years ago to build the outdoor classrooms here in Dedham, saying that they had an ongoing grant program as well that was for $2,500 for 5 years and stuff and such. So I reloaded a new grant for that. They liked it so much they said, well, you have more than one school you service, so you should use me for that. And I said, yeah, I'm using that too. So they said, well, great, we'll need $5,000. So with that $5,000, we will get new tents. That's why I brought the tents in. We have all brand new tents for main studies. So we're going to get rid of all those old ones. We're going to get nice and waterproof when we go out there. Also, they will get new cooking gear. So we have all new griddles, new propane hookups, everything, new burners. So we have all kinds of new stuff for that. I'm going to be ordering some other gear. I've got some more of the average stuff that I need for outdoor ed, like balls and ropes and things like that. We have all kinds of things, that frisbees and all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the new things that we have going on. Also, for the main studies in 8th grade, we couldn't go to Coffee Cook, which is up by Calais. They're redoing their entire state park. So on the fly, and this is Mr. Allen decided that we change it and go to Scooted Point and go to Acadia National Park. Right there, we see it's Scooted Woods. We get rained out. It's the new tents. That was one of the things in my mind that we needed to get something new. While we were there, or before we went there, I asked friends of Acadia if they would sponsor us to go on whale watch. They also were able to do that. So the entire 8th grade, all the chaperones, all of the staff were able to go on day one whale watch through friends of Acadia. They're really invested in this program. They really love it. Their big thing is there are a bunch of wealthy philanthropists that are in Acadia and Bar Harbor, and they want to see kids learning outside. They want to see kids out, so they get money for classrooms to continue programs like this. They're going to come in the spring and tour around here. They want to see outdoor classroom here and also in Dedham. So that's one new thing that's going on. With the firefighters, we have a great relationship with the firefighters. They come in for a CPR. We've been doing this for a few years at 8th grade. They also, 5th and 6th, they come in and talk to them about fire safety. We're doing survival fires. They bring in some more stuff every time. We've added a new thing. These guys, 7th grade, first aid. Next year, I've been talking with them as well. So next year, we're going to expand it even more. We're going to do like scenario work with them. Once they've had first aid and CPR, we'll do like a whole scenario type unit, where they're going to have someone acting out, like, oh, I broke my leg in hiking, what the others going to do, how are we going to solve this problem? So it's working on all those skills for first aid, but also problem solving with these guys. So that's something new that we've done. Also, Penobscot Rivers and Trails, started a relationship with them. They're up in Medway. They offer for free. It's another philanthropist that wants to get kids outdoors. They offer for free mountain biking in the fall, cross-country skiing, which these guys are going to be doing in the wintertime, and kayaking in the spring. So these guys will be doing cross-country skiing this winter, and then next fall, the 6th grade will be doing mountain biking. And the last thing I want to say that's new that we're doing this year, we had foresters, the district foresters come in for Penobscot, for Hancock County. They came here and also in Dedham, and they spent some time working with the kids, going through the forest, teaching about ecology, tree identification. They're going to be coming back in the wintertime as well, to talk about how it changes and how the forest ecology is a lot different from winter. Then in the springtime, they're going to come back again, and it's going to be an ongoing thing this year. They're going to come in and work with the kids, teaching about the forests we have right here. So I'll pass it over to these guys, and each talk a little bit. This is Michael and John.
One of the things that like outdoor ed that just like pops up in my head once in a while, instead of like sitting on my butt and on the couch playing video games, I was like, hey, maybe I'll go outside and make a shelter. And, like, I was just like thinking, like, what should I do for this? And then I was like, what would insulate it? And I was like, oh yeah, like pine boughs and bark and stuff like that. And I got that from outdoor ed shelter building. Like, I was just thinking about how I could easily make a fire and watch out for like leaves are really bad fire starters, and like instead I should get birch bark and stuff like that. So it's taught me quite a bit about the outdoors and everything like that. It just pops up in my head once in a while. It's cool.
That's awesome.
Like I created this only like I know studies about it, and pass on the cameras on the studies, and it's also making really good s'more ice cream coatings. And we also talked about things like a good cooking fire instead of just like a big open flame. So we can take all of our knowledge and we use it on the site. And on the site is like a trip where you like camp overnight and you do a bunch of stuff. We cook our own food and then we go on hikes and stuff and
That's awesome, yeah.
I'm jealous that you have waterproof tents.
Only for the kids.
I feel like I must have missed the year they had these tents.
What do they use with?
Could have been COVID.
Yeah.
Oh.
We had to change things a lot.
Yeah, because we stayed out in the arena, a bit of that.
The tax suite.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the 6th grade to do that. And then 7th grade usually goes to Seawall and Aiden, and then 8th grade goes to Cubs Cook, but they should get a little
I didn't think what we could do, we made 8th grade and we did camp out. I still didn't get it. I know it was That's very awesome. Do you guys have skis?
They have skis there. Yeah, we're going to their facility, and they have all the equipment there. Something I'd like to get here, but I'm going to need more storage space before running out of storage right now.
Where do you store them?
Mr. Walton's been kind of being part of one of the sheds that I put some of the stuff in. Some goes in my classroom, some in the basement, some goes in the trailer that we have. So these guys are busy and it's helping me move stuff back and forth depending on how many what we're doing.
Great, well, I'm glad to see that program continue to grow.
It is growing and the kids are enjoying it. It's been nice watching the kids. In the beginning, they were a little bit hesitant about being outside and not wanting to do all this. And now it's not that way at all. They love it. They're excited to go out. They have fun. It's fun watching them when they come back from main studies, unloading the trailer and loading it back up again and doing the things that they need to do to help out. So it's a nice tie-in also.
Another thing that just popped in my head that I forgot to say, after we did the snowshoeing unit, I got home to my grandmother's that day, and I was like, hey, Mamie, I call my grandma. I was like, hey, do you have any snowshoes? And I went outside and I just started going through the woods snowshoeing and exploring those.
I saw your eyes pop up when he said cross-country skiing. Is that new
That's
for you?
really cool. I didn't know that.
Surprise!
And Mr. Maxwell has done a lot to make sure things are there, but also to get further certifications for himself.
Absolutely.
Are you
Which is
still,
wrong.
this came apart, like it came about through a relationship with Bruno, right? Was it, what was his name? John?
Mr.
You're talking about Mr. Savage?
Yes, is that how this program kind of came about?
This program came about when we couldn't find a world language teacher.
Oh,
And we talked about, before we go down that road of Rosetta Stone or other things where kids are either sitting in front of a computer doing, oh, what can we really do? And so that was when the AOS board voted to make an outdoor education program to get
okay.
kids out and do those things. And then Mr. Maxwell paired with Mr. Savage to look at what they did. And he came over and did a lot of the clearing with his, because he also does forestry at Brewer. He did a lot of the clearing out back and pulling trees out, and then Gil did all the detail work, we'll call it. Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you guys coming out, and we have no expectation that you stay.
This will be the highlight,
You
so.
can go and leave if you want, and no judgment here. Thanks again.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Gil.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're gonna move on to some really old business.
Third time's the charm.
Yes, policy review, policy JKAA.
So you have it included in your packets, and I can review it again, 'cause it's been a while if you want, but it's a change to restraint. And you voted it through with no changes last time. So barring any questions, I would recommend you vote it through this time.
Make a recommendation to accept as presented.
Second?
All those in favor? Okay, then moving on to JKAA/R.
So that one is simply there as a regulation, you don't vote on it, it's so that you see how it's implemented. So you, again, I can go through it if you want, but that's the procedure that follows the policy for the regulation.
Doesn't sound like you.
You don't do anything on it.
Okay, and then BTG fundraisers.
It's that is an additional list. Is a brand new PTG board this year. And so after the fundraisers were submitted at the beginning of the school year, there was a lot of brainstorming and good ideas coming out. So it doesn't mean that this is everything they're going to do. They're just looking for permission to use some of these fundraiser ideas in the future.
Okay.
Oh, I like that actually, they signed it. It's like a fundraiser.
Do I have a motion?
You need to vote to approve.
Oh, we need to just vote.
Yep.
Okay. So all those in favor of approval? And then moving on to new business. So
October students count we usually go over in November, but.
It's new.
And so one of the reasons we go over it is because that's what sets your subsidy from the state, because it's the fixed time from between October 15th and October 31st, where they establish what your actual student count is. You remain fairly stable here. Your official student count at Center Drive this year is 345. Last year it was 344, so you're up one kind of thing. The other pieces that you'll want to know is essentially your special ed is up about 5%. Your high school enrollment is dropping. If you remember, our big classes are leaving, so you're down 17 this year from last year. That's good on the tuition side. That will be a reduction in subsidy on the revenue side because it is 17 less students. And then your pre-K is up 6% this year, or 6 students, I mean, sorry. But that's just because last year was a small group that's going through kindergarten, you still remain stable, you're under the 32. I can take questions you have on that if you want. The other questions that usually come up is, right now you have 80 at Brewer High, 47 at John Baptist, and then 21 is your other big one at Hampton Academy. Then there's a smattering between Bangor, Bucksport, Hillsborough, which is what we usually see, 1 to 3. Which will make sense this year because we're going to tuition rates in there. Any questions on that? Otherwise, it's really just for your information. Because budget's coming, that's why Alan's here.
All right, so moving on to the community use and school facilities.
Yep, so you have that in your packet. Trying to catch up. Sorry. So what it does is regulate and rewrites what you currently have to modern language as to who can use it and when, and what the process is for there. You'll know that there is an approval process, and then if it's denied, it's final kind of thing. And really, that's come about as different, not in this community, but throughout the state, as different events are trying to be hosted at a school. You want to make sure that you have a regulation in place to ensure that those people meet whatever you need for a criteria in this building. And so here, we have to follow the insurance requirement and have to go through the approval process, which also ties in with our next policy, which is different, but will be for the pieces going home. So I can go through it line by line if you want, or you can ask specific questions. The layout pretty much of A through I and the regulations that are enforced.
We didn't see before.
Yes,
You said that we have them in the past.
yes.
Like
Yep.
when I use the schools are different on the organizations.
Specific questions?
So it talks about a deposit and then being refunded, but nowhere does it say like what the deposit is.
So we have a different piece that we used, and we have a different chart printout that shows what the rental is or whatever. Very rarely do we charge rent, like if you look. If it's a community event or things that we have, we're not looking to do it. It's if there's gonna be cleanup, if there's gonna be problems.
Make a motion to approve the community use of school facilities. Policy KF.
All those in favor? Okay, and the distribution of non-school materials.
Yep, you should have A through D in that policy, and essentially it lines out or outlines what it is that we will or won't send home and how it's regulated to make sure that what you have to be careful is you don't create what's called a public open forum. And then if you don't send anything home, you basically, but you basically violated their rights. This protects it so that you don't have to do that.
So, for example, like Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts, they send notices.
Yeah, we send it home.
But that would be covered under part of this, like,
Yep,
because it's not really like a school.
It'd be under D.
yes. But it could also be under C, like, if you look at offered by groups, like our Orrington students participating here, it's one of the
Okay.
reasons when we have travel basketball, we don't charge for use of the gym because it's Orrington students, we're not. We're here to try to support.
But this just keeps you from having someone come in and
So
say,
you
here, I
gotta
want to
send
send
this
this to
home,
everybody.
yes, yes.
That has nothing to do with the students or students being able to.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or is a particular agenda that is just like, that's not our role.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
I make a motion to accept policy KHC as written.
All those in favor? All right, and then moving on to tuition rates.
Yes, you should have that in front of you. The reason we talk about it is because in a K-8 school, it sets between 30 and 40% of your budget every year. And what we also talk about is the fact that that number, we always have to project for the budget because it isn't calculated until December of the year that you're in. Meaning that whatever you're gonna pay for tuition, you don't know until you get there. Lately, one of the reasons that's jumped so much is because there's also what's called an inflation kicker, if you will, where they adjust whatever that number is up to whatever the current year is. But that's projected based on certain indexes. And so we always try to project. You'll know for us, the two big ones are obviously John Bass and Brewer, That's where the majority of our students go. BAPS right now is 15.9 per student, and Brewer is 12.8 per student. Brewer actually had a bigger jump this year. They were about 11% versus John Baptist, which was 6.9%, state average was 6.9%, 7%. We are good as far as our budget goes because we budgeted 10%, so between those two numbers, it comes in to be just about even, but we are fine as far as being able to cover what we had expected to pay, but you'll also need to remember, because this will come up in about a month, that number is what we're gonna readjust that number to and then project for next year. So while it sets this year, it also sets next year because we have to take that current real number and then increase it whatever that projected percentage is again. Does that make sense? The others are included here because we have students that go there and also because there's always going to be this push and pull of what we pay to BAPS versus what we pay to Brewer. But if you look, you have other public schools that are also climbing to that height, so it really comes down to how much they spend versus how many students they get in. And in all fairness to a high school, if they get 70 extra students or lose 70, they don't know that until about November the year they're in, and they're not going to be able to adjust.
Can I ask you a question? I
Oh,
should probably answer too. For the tuition rates that other schools, that we pay for other schools,
Yep.
is that a set rate for any student that goes to that school?
Yes.
Or is that what they charge them?
That's a set rate the state sets it, which is why we don't hit it till December. So the state sets all tuition for, there's a tuition rate set for Orrington as well. We don't tuition kids, but there's one set every year.
Okay.
That's a good question.
I think I should have known that.
It took me 5 years, that's my job.
There's still a ton of parents that think the town set them differently
Yes.
by town. I had this conversation with an Ellsworth parent.
So like the town takes their own.
Yeah, like a lot of parents think town negotiates with schools to set rates.
And that was a fallout from the consolidation, because in consolidation, if you didn't have a school, you had to have a contract with the high school.
So this is not related to
That's
our
all right.
school, but like the schools that have a high school that they have to go to.
Yes.
Like Glenmore.
Yep. No.
Well, they maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, Luann does. They have to
Right, do they have negotiated rates with
No.
Herman for their kids to go there, so they have to pay? the
They
same
have a
rate?
contract, so they negotiate other things, but they have to follow the state average. Now, they can adjust it up or down 10%.
Okay,
And I don't know what their contract says, just because I wasn't part of that.
okay, so they're still charging their kids the Herman rate,
Yeah.
or, you know, to go to that school minus or plus 10%.
Whatever they may have adjusted.
Yeah, but Levant and Caravelle kids, they signed like a 5-year contract.
Yes,
And then like in 5 years, they could say, well, we don't want to go to Herman anymore. We can go to Hamden or we can go to Brewer. That's up to the town.
the contract can't be longer than 10 years.
So many questions that are not related to it, so I don't know.
Well, I'm happy to sit with you if you want.
And the only reason I know that is because I live in Herman. So that's how I know that. My friend used to be on the Levant school board, so I know that stuff. So that's why I know.
Why would they want a contract with only one school? Why would they want it on choice school?
I don't know.
They might get a lower rate.
Herman's had a long history of going, Carmel Levan's had a long history of going to Herman High.
Oh, okay.
And they, I mean, to the point where they have so many kids there, they run their own UTC bus for Carmel, well, they're 87, or 287, to UTC in the afternoons. And they've always had a long history of that. I don't know how it came to be or why. And I think over the years, the school, same thing happened in Orland. Orland used to be part of the Orrington School District, we were Union 90. There with our 25 Bucksport now, and they had school choice all along with all the kids go to Bucksport.
There is no Orland school.
Right, well, it's a community center, yeah.
Interesting.
Other questions on tuition rates?
All right, so moving on to reports. Judy?
Yes, and following right along with tuition rates, we have our high school information rate coming up. So January 14th, we will have 5 area schools that will be coming, and our graders will participate in that. We have been busy, of course. We sent a whole bunch of people home before Christmas sick, and they've all come back, so things are good. But we had a busy before holiday time, and the other thing I would say, our ELA committee is going full force. We're piloting a program starting January, I think 22nd is when we'll be starting that one. And I've been carrying these around now since November, but we haven't had a chance to see us at our meetings. Before Christmas, I received 2 donations, one from the Orrington Center Church for $400, and one from Linda Clark. Tell me the last name.
Linda Colossi, she was a coach and phys ed teacher here in Ladies.
She's been doing it now for, what, 6 or 7 years, I think, at least, sending money every year to us too. And so we have started a fund for kids that families in need. We draw from that. So Linda and I have gotten to know each other now, back and forth through pen pal. Any questions for me?
All right, so we'll move on, Sharon.
You have my letter in your packet. A lot of it echoes what Judy said. We're really getting into looking at these ELA programs. And even though we have to wait until we have a training, the first program that we're going to pilot later in the month, today I got my workout in and we held the materials over vacation. And today I distributed all the materials to the classrooms. That was a lot of boxes. It looked like a whole new program, just the whole thing. But really, we're just piloting a module or 2 for each grade, K through 4. So we're looking forward to that. We're just over halfway through the winter athletics season, and that's going really well. Our cheerleaders have 3 competitions ahead, beginning this Saturday. Yep, this Saturday. This month is already going by. We just started. So they have 3 competitions for the rest of the season. That is something to look forward to. And PTG, in the middle of the month, is going to have their glow dance for the 2nd year in a row. Last year, they stepped away from the traditional Valentine family dance, and they turned it into like more of a winter glow dance with glow in the dark, like glow sticks and things like that. That's tons of fun. So that's going to be a good time. Any questions for me?
I don't think so. Okay, Phil.
So we completed the DOE review that started about a year ago when I first came on board. So that's done. We are through that until 2028 at this point. We'll go to the next one. We learned a lot. I can tell you for myself, it was a huge learning opportunity to learn about best practices versus being compliant and how to really look at IEPs in a different way. And teaching a lot of the new staff that we've got in each of our programs how to really write IEPs that are beyond compliant. Really looking at our students and what their needs are, but also going beyond that. So huge learning curve, but it's been great. We're starting to work on Field Day with Friends. We'll partner with Dedham and to host other communities locally. We haven't firmed up which school it will be yet. The initial thoughts are we'll be at Dedham again this year and then possibly switch over and we'll go back and forth year after year. But we'll be partnering with them each year going forward, hopefully. We're lucky to have Tim over there that takes that on. I'm in the hill in life skills, so working with him on that. Lots of staffing changes, like I said, RISE, you got to see that program earlier, months ago now. We have one more kiddo and pre-referral for that program right now, so we'll see where that goes. We've also got a lot of child finds with even kiddos in our regular pre-K program for a lot of these that come in for speech services in particular, but it's been a very positive change for the school. Any questions for me?
All right. Nick?
You have my report all submitted to court as written, except to say a thank you to Judy. Because I do think we need to acknowledge that she's retiring.
But I think we should just pretend, how's that?
Okay. She might object, but I guess you'll have to ask her. But a thank you to her for all the years she's had here and all the hard work she's put in.
You'll be missed.
Seconded.
Thank you.
Any questions for me? Otherwise, we've covered it through the agenda.
And I'm guessing Michael was the John
Yep.
Baptist, he unfortunately is not here.
So it's in your packet.
Oh, it is, okay.
I would say to you a couple of things. They have an interim head of school right now, Jay Brennan. He's retired and come back, not from there, but from the Dover Frogcroft areas. He did private schools for 35 years. They're working on a search. They're at about 495 or about 500 students right now. Their focus for hiring is that they're going to continue to try to grow their international students. And if you look at the second page, you'll see the criteria underneath and what they're looking at. They've got a third party, they're basically doing a nationwide search. They've got a third party managing it, they've got 36 inquiries. And they're hoping to do interviews in November. I don't believe that happened, but they may have. It just hasn't gotten back to me. I don't think so either, but I am here, so.
Okay. Moving on to personnel.
So under appointments, Amber Perry, chairing, resignations, we have Tori Lander, and then we have, with regret, Judy Marvin.
Give me some time. We've
You
been down there.
can, the minutes are going to reflect that, but you can.
All right, and we don't have to do it.
No. You can accept it with regret.
Yeah, we accept those with regret. And then, any comments? We're gonna move into executive session. Well, we need a motion.
You will.
I see it for all of you, but Judy's retired, so I would say that personally, I've had a couple of situations that I was able to help Judy with, and her heart is has
All right.
Any motion to go into executive session?
All those in favor?
I owe you a check. Just gonna go back and find my text on her.